So we got some inconsistencies in the story related to Jay-Z and his sexual assault allegations. And the Duke Lacrosse accuser finally comes out and admits that she made the whole thing up. Welcome back to It's Coach Podcast. My name is Mark, and I'm excited to bring to you tonight this episode. There's some inconsistencies going on with the story in regards to the sexual assault allegations regarding to Jay-Z. I talked about it earlier in the video. He's been accused, has been named as an accuser, alleged accuser in the Diddy trial. This is in regards to a sexual assault that was alleged to have happened after the 2000 VMAs. So we're going to talk about that one. And then nearly 20 years later, we have the Duke Lacrosse team back in the news as the accuser has come forward and said she fabricated the whole thing. Yeah, man. But first, before we talk about any of that, you do me a favor, hit the like button, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates when I go live. And as I say on all my shows, I appreciate everyone who tunes in and subscribes. Keep hitting that subscribe button. It's free. It don't cost you anything, but it helps me and it helps grow this channel. So appreciate that. Now, as I was saying earlier, Jay-Z, we have allegations that have tied him to Sean Puffy Combs and an alleged assault that happened after the VMAs in 2000. This was first broke last week as he was added to a civil lawsuit to which Jay-Z came out and made a statement. We went over that in my last video where he vehemently denied everything and said that this was nothing more than a money grab. Well, somehow, some way, NBC News was able to get an exclusive interview with this young lady who accused them of this assault. And they have found some inconsistencies in this story. Now, I've chopped this video up because it's very, very long. I don't have the video portions where she is making her statements. I took that part out. If you want to go see it, you can go Google NBC News, but I want y'all to hear some of the highlights though. So let's go to it.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive.
Okay. Her friend took her from Rochester all the way to New York City, about a 5-hour drive. Now, we know, based on the allegations from the previous day, this young lady was 13 years old. So a 13-year-old hopped in the car and drove 5 hours, got from Rochester all the way to New York City. All right, let's just start right there.
Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died.
So the person who can corroborate this is dead, okay?
Woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party. She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time.
Okay, so heard a little bit from her. She said she was talking to one of these Maddens about his tattoo. Their publicists and their people come out and say they were not at the VMAs. We were on tour. We were in the Midwest.
At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched. After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home. In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind, he said.
I just want you all to understand this. She said she called her dad, and her father drove 5 hours from Rochester to pick her up to bring her back to Rochester to their house. Yeah, this story is not making any sense.
When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements. I have made some mistakes, she said. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me. The inconsistencies in her account of an incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean the allegations are false. The accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, said, because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress. In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said, this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory.
Okay. A lot of inconsistencies in this story. A little background. They said the young lady, the lady is autistic, maybe. Kind of sounds like it in the video. The more I hear this story, the more this sounds like a money grab by Tony Busby. This don't sound like it happened. I mean, any father out there would have drove 5 hours to pick up your daughter and find out that she got assaulted and you didn't go to the cops. I mean, I don't believe that. Yeah, this doesn't even sound right. It sounds like somebody was trying to get some money, using somebody, little conspiracy theories. Sometimes people be out there saying things and they may just make allegations up. And if you pay attention to them too much, you'll go along with it. That's what this sounds like. It just don't jive. Just don't jive. And when I heard the entire interview and I heard her talking, it didn't seem believable to me. And I don't know if this lawyer is utilizing this woman and trying to get paid off of her by making this salacious claims and following up this story, because it sounds like it's just a rabbit hole and just something that's going down a rabbit hole that never happened. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because you have women who are getting assaulted and these things are happening. And you can't be out here trying to get money grabs and trying to go after people simply because they're celebrities and you think that you can get paid off of it, because that's not cool. As Jay-Z said in his first statement, he has to go out here and tell his daughter she's at the age where people going to be looking at her, talking about her at school, saying things behind her back. This is not fair to them. This is not fair to the Carters. And I hope and pray that whatever Tony Busby is doing, that, he can find solace knowing that, this is very despicable and disgraceful. And you shouldn't be preying on people trying to get paid just so you can make a name for yourself, just so you can continue to file these frivolous lawsuits that that don't stick, because this one doesn't pass the smell test with me. But as it continues on, we will continue on to report on it, and I'll let y'all know what I think as I hear more about it. But I think this one here is probably going to be wrapping up very, very shortly, because this story just has got too many holes and it's too inconclusive. So, moving on to another story. In that same regard, Crystal Mangum. You all, if you're unfamiliar with this story, we talk about Duke Lacrosse team, and everybody knows about this because this was national news when it happened. I remember the whole lacrosse team, they had to stop playing the sport. The Duke had canceled their season and everything with this happened. And it's surrounded around a stripper getting hired to go dance at a party with the lacrosse team and she coming out saying that these boys assaulted her sexually. They went to trial. Ultimately, the case got dismissed because the DA and everybody quit. They sued the school. Wants an undisclosed amount of money, but the damage was already done. Well, she finds herself on a podcast nearly 20 years later doing this.
A first ever stunning admission from a woman who accused Duke University lacrosse players of raping her nearly 20 years ago. The story was a national firestorm. She now says she lied about the encounter. Crystal Mangum first made the claims back in 2006, saying 3 members of the school's lacrosse team raped her after she had been hired to dance at a house party the team was throwing. Police charged David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman after Mangum's accusations. But after much back and forth and the city's DA stepping down from the case, North Carolina's Attorney General later dismissed the charges, citing a lack of evidence. But now, going on the record on a podcast nearly 20 years later, Crystal Mangum says she was lying the whole time.
And that's the sad part, because she could have had, these boys could have went to prison for the rest of their lives on a lie.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God.
Why is it always when someone wants to confess something, it has to do with religion?
And that was wrong when God already loved me for who I was, regardless. I didn't need to seek validation from him because I already had validation from him. I just didn't know it.
She sounds like somebody who lacks a lot of self-esteem.
And I hurt my brothers. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I want them to know that I love them. And they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me.
Yeah, so she started talking about her brothers. I don't know if she was talking about her biological brothers or she meaning the Duke lacrosse players who she said that maybe like her brothers in Christ, I guess. But the sheer matter of the matter is this. This woman flat out lied. And this case was a huge one because it crossed racial lines. It caused a firestorm. It was, even when the charges got dismissed, people were saying, oh, they got these charges dismissed because they went to Duke and they had money and yada, yada, yada. All this stuff. Only to find out that this woman flat out lied about the whole situation from the get-go. From the start, she lied. And now, 20 years later, she wants to, almost 20 years later, she wants to get forgiveness for this? Well, you could have destroyed these men's lives. They could be in prison. They could have all kind of trauma for dealing with with what would happen to men who go to prison, who have those type of charges. We've heard stories about this. And now she's saying, hey, I let people down because I was looking for validation and I had validation for God. Miss me with all that, man. Miss me with all that. Just stop. Because nobody told you to sit up there and lie on these men. And this goes right back to what I said in the first part of my segment tonight, is when I said, some women are out here trying to get justice for things that actually happen to them and they can't. Because you got women like this one who makes up things because she was lacking her own self-esteem. And she made up something, created an entire narrative, was willing to risk it and destroy the lives of 3 people that she didn't even know from Adam, she should be charged with falsifying and making a false claim against these dudes. She should have to pay something because it's not fair to them. And now I know they got their money from Duke and all that, but they should have never been in this situation in the first place. It was her own just lying. It was her. She lied on these men, destroyed their lives. There's a whole 30 for 30 documentary on these men about this case. And now she's saying, hey, you know, I made up the whole thing. I just made it up. And I just want them to forgive me. There ain't enough forgiveness in the world for this. Not when your lies could send men to prison. So, y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about both situations. The Jay-Z one, like I said, I think that one is over with. And this one here, this is just absolutely pathetic. And I think that she needs to be charged with something. But that's my time for the night. Until next time, Coach Nation, let's keep it coaching.